To the families of those who have lost their lives at the hands of law enforcement, everyone in this room mourns with you. But today we will offer more than just sympathy. Today we are proposing meaningful change. Thoughts and prayers are not enough. Pledges to study the problem are not enough. Half measures are not enough. To the members of this committee, the Justice and Policing Act is our opportunity to show the world that we are listening and that we will respond with real and lasting reforms. We must not let this moment slip away. If we find ourselves here again, listening to the heartbreaking testimony of another grieving family member, wondering why we did not act when we had the chance, it will be a stain on our legacy. We must not let that happen. I urge all of my colleagues to support this vital legislation.
Not one single Republican was consulted with the bill that we're marking up today. Not one. You guys introduced it, didn't talk with us. So I hope today that you will embrace our thoughtful amendments that we plan to offer, amendments that are consistent with the Constitution, consistent with the rule of law, consistent with those four principles, and consistent with Mr. Floyd's words that life is precious. That is our goal on the Republican side. And I look forward to the next several hours as we mark up this legislation, that we can adopt Republican amendments that we think will make this legislation the kind of legislation our country wants us to see, to develop here in the House Judiciary Committee. With that,
at a crossroads now. For the first time, I believe America is finally beginning to question, to learn, and to understand the hard truths that surround policing in our country. I always say that one of the things that is most painful to African Americans is when we describe our interactions with police and when our experience is completely rejected because someone else has not had that experience.
All interviews that are conducted, whether they are in.
Right now, the world is witnessing the birth of a new movement in our country, and this movement has spread to many nations around the world. People are marching to demand not just change, but transformative change that ends police brutality, that ends racial profiling. They're marching to demand meaningful and substantive change, not a fig leaf, not reform life, and I don't want this committee to do that either. That's why we must support the Justice and Policing Act that will be changed today, and it will be called the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act.
But in both memos, they required that in-custody interviews be either audio or visual.
Now, and again, what the American people deserve is a thoughtful dialogue, common sense, and valuable input from both the majority and the minority on this committee. This common ground is key if we're going to accomplish the goal of keeping our communities safe, upholding the civil liberties of individuals, and protecting the legitimacy of law enforcement.